everybody. This is my fireside version of yoga for the elderly. Not that I'm that elderly, I'm 62. My husband is 70 and we're quarantined. I haven't taught yoga for many years as I've gotten older, gained weight, but super helpful for keeping your energy, your mind calm, emptying out all your thoughts. The first part of yoga that you need to remember is that it's not just the poses that we do, it's how we think. Yoga has 8 branches, and one of them is meditation, stilling the fluctuations of your mind so that your mind is just empty. And in yoga they use mantras or sounds to do that, or you can visualize something to do that. You can do the poses, which are called asanas, to do that. But the goal eventually is unity, which is what yoga means. The word means unity. It's really a unity deep inside of yourself that connects you with everything around you. And especially in a time like this when we're all isolated, I think unity is really a critically important thing for us to be experiencing still. So this is just my simple brand of yoga, which is very slow. And I ask everybody to, spend time with your eyes closed while we do it, and be aware of the most subtle shifts and changes in your body so that your body's always in alignment while we stretch. And then I'll talk you through some of that. Like for instance, here we're just sitting with our feet apart in Baddha Konasana, and notice if you have one hip that is hurting a little bit, well, even while you sit here. It helps to sit on a bolster so that you're kind of tipped forward a little bit. Make sure that you tuck your tailbone under while you sit on the floor, and you'll notice your toes will lift up a little bit when you tuck your tail. And also paying attention to which side of your body is more tense or tight. For me, it's always my left side, my left leg, my left hip socket. So what I'm going to do is draw that leg gently back into the hip socket so that it's sitting deep in the hip socket, and you'll notice your leg will turn forward a little bit more easily on that side now. It doesn't feel as restricted. You might need to do that with both sides, but most of us are bilateral in how we are out of alignment. That's my dog Tess. She's going to join us. So sink back in your tailbone again. Tuck in with that leg. Just let it sink down. And as you come forward, reach through your body to come forward. Stop when you feel pain in your hamstrings, because basically there's no good reason that you should have pain in yoga. People equate somehow pain with stretching. Actually, you can do yoga very effortlessly. And the way we do it more effortlessly is you stay right where you're at and you relax the back of your legs. How do you do that? There's a couple ways. One is you can slightly engage your quads so that the hamstring relaxes. You'll notice that happens. Another way is to, as you sink your tailbone under, and you feel that weight, you find some spot, any spot the size of a quarter in your body, and just breathe with consciousness into that spot. Say it's like just on my ankle or on your hand. The entire body will respond. As a few cells relax, we are holistic, and the whole body will respond. Don't push against the pain of the stretch. Just breathe. Now tuck the tailbone under a little more and turn that tighter hip in by relaxing into the hip joint. And notice that actually you get a little farther down in the stretch. So anybody can eventually get their chest down into the floor, but that's it doesn't have any stretch that you're doing is equal to everybody else. Or you just stretch where you're at. Good. Send the breath all the way down into your toes and let your feet spread, widen, round your back a little bit to come up. I know this is very, very slow, but that's the way we're doing it today. So tuck the tailbone under, slide your right leg a little deeper in the hip socket. You can't see, but my feet are out in a V. It's not a really wide V, maybe 4 feet apart. And relax the left hip in the hip socket again. Deep breath. Find a place in your body where you can focus and breathe. And as that releases, you can find yourself going down a little farther. If automatically your feet start kind of popping out, that's not what we want. So we'll come back to where we're in the right positioning. Round your back. And coming up. Okay. Take your right foot forward and your left foot, bend at the knee and draw your foot up into the inside of your thigh. So even just sitting upright like this can be difficult. You could imagine that your hip sockets are like a gear. We turn the gear in order to sink the weight of the tailbone down. Relax your shoulders again. Turn the inside of the hip socket in. Really feel that weight, the heavy weight of the tailbone sinking into the earth. And the hips starting to release. Pay attention to your tighter hip. Give it a little more attention. Draw it into the hip and turn it in. It's really basically that our bones have to work in the socket. So the arm has to sit in the socket to be more flexible. The leg has to sit in the socket. Otherwise you hyperextend or yoga becomes something that actually isn't actually always good for you. As you're doing this, you'll notice little things like you may feel like as you sink down into your sit bone, you could spread your toes. Or you can feel the inside of your body kind of opening like a fan would open so that there's more space between your shoulder blades. You're wider across your back. Good, now coming forward. One more time, rotate in, hang back in that hip and breathe. I've always loved Janu Shirsasana. The poses, they have fancy names, but they're very simple. Janu just means knee. Shirsha is your head, so head to your knee pose. And then you can rotate into a twist. So the elbow kind of locks into the inside of the knee, but I'm going to sink my tailbone down even more. Rotate in and do this very slowly in pieces. The leg turns in. I sink down. I reach my waist out. And then I reach. So in this kind of movement, it's one thing at a time. Tailbone in, tailbone down. Tuck it under a little bit. Leg in the socket. Rotate in with your leg. relaxing the hamstring, reaching out over your leg, and then we start our twist. The upper body can completely separate from your lower body and move without it. It's one of the principles of yoga that separation helps you achieve the pose. So we keep separating to achieve it. And coming up. We'll go to our other side. When I was started teaching yoga, I was in my 20s, and I've had a couple studios, and I taught for 25 years, but I was young and flexible, and I would do back bends from standing and do handstands and headstands. It's interesting to be older now and to give myself permission to not have to do it as perfectly or as fantastically. Really, this yoga work that we're doing is beautiful, relaxing, internalizes your energy, and it perfectly aligns your body to center. So when I start this pose and I turn inward, I'm turning into my center. I'm relaxing back into my hip. As I tuck my tailbone under, I'm feeling the earth and the groundedness and safety and protection of that. I'm telling my kidneys and my adrenal glands when I do that, everything's fine. Every time you tuck your tailbone under, you tell your body you're safe. And as I start to twist, there's this expansion and openness in the heart that can start to give you kind of an ecstatic feeling. Hanging under, I reach. The arm is reaching almost more like I'm a swimmer and I'm swimming with my arm is going to go backwards. Just reach as far as I can. Today, tomorrow it will be different. And coming up. Good. We're only going to do 3 poses today. So, if you're worried here, we're doing to do 3 sitting poses. So, half lotus. You can have your foot out in front of you, or you could have it on top. It doesn't matter at this point. More, we're thinking of this as a psoas stretch. The hips relax in again. We feel our tailbone tuck under. Feel the space between the vertebrae as you gently let your spine float up. Chin can come down. Remember, sitting tall is not lifting the front of your body. That's not tall. It's actually letting the back of it. Do you see how the difference between lifting the front of my body or I just let my chin come down and the back of my body lifted? Okay, I'm feeling this weight now in my palms, and that's because I've woken up energy down my arms. And the weight should actually fall right over your 3rd finger of your palm. So when you turn your hips in and when you find your core, you'll notice almost immediately kind of it feels like you could hold an orange, the weight of an orange in each hand, that heaviness, the weight in your palm. In India, they would draw images of the eye of Ra and your palm and the palms of the feet and the also. So hanging down deep into your body, feeling that weight in your 3rd finger. Just drop your hands down now to your legs, and you can touch. It depends on what you want to do here, but your 3rd finger to your thumb or your index finger to your thumb. Good, sink the tailbone under again. And just notice your breath. It's so beautiful here. I hear the crackling of the fire and some geese outside that are nests starting to find the spring nests. There's still snow on the ground, but feels like a new beginning. Springtime's coming for all of us. Good. Notice again your breath as you sink your weight. Let the eyes sink back in the eye socket. In India, they say if Tara is called upon, if you just say her name, she will come to you. So by saying her name just now, she's entered the room and is present with us, and she's represents complete love, forgiveness, and she is a Hindu goddess who really is connected to the earth and will hold our burdens. And so we call on Tara now for everybody, their families, and our loved ones, the elderly that we love, and people of all ages, continents, races, that the heart chakra open now, and there be an outpouring of love and connectedness through the heart. Om Tara Tu Tara Soe Tara. Through the mercy and compassion of the Mother, I see the lotus in you. Om Mani Padme Om. Namaste. Thank you for joining me, dear ones. I love you.